Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. We got a comic showcase tonight for you. With us tonight, we have Mr. E, a.k.a. Drew. Or is it the other way around?
Either way
Everybody,
works.
we got a comic showcase tonight for you. That's all right. Yeah, we also got Sweens with us.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, brother? How's it going?
Well, it's going pretty good. Can't complain.
Today is Sweens' birthday, everybody. Say happy
Happy
birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Sweens.
Happy birthday!
Thanks. One more year closer to death.
Yeah, it's something to
That's very
celebrate.
uplifting and positive.
Not morbid at all.
Yeah, there's nothing
You
wrong
know,
with it.
Yeah, man. We also have Vinnie with us. Say hello, Vinnie.
Hello, everyone. I mean, aloha.
Oh, Jesus. And of course, Lola is joining us.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, Lola.
So yeah, we're going to talk about some comics tonight. And yeah, we'll just, throw some shit at Sweens along the way since it's his birthday. So,
all right, Tim, throw shit at me.
yeah, man, tell us about Oddity. What's going on here?
Okay, Oddity. Oddity is a character actually started on when I was in high school. I always loved Spider-Man. I loved Ninja Turtles. That's kind of one of the cornerstones when I was growing up. Toxic Crusader, Avenger, stuff. I always loved just the vibrant colors and just the offbeat comedy mixed with the horror, and it's just bizarre like stuff that I was raised on. And as I got older and started developing some artistic skills, I guess I started creating this character. And when I first started him, he was very dark and sinister, and like the first drawing is him eating like a rabbit, and there's like blood and intestines hanging out and all this weird stuff. And as I got older, I just kind of like added on to the character. Like I've been drawing my whole life, and I went through art school and all this stuff. And in between pieces, I'd always go back to this character and just mess around and kind of like build his whole world and storyline. And it was just like a fun pastime for me growing up. And I was always a fan of comics, of course, and especially everyone says this, it's like pretty cliche now, but like I loved Image Comics. I loved McFarlane, and just the energy that those books put out, and especially their covers and stuff. Interiors questionable, but the covers were always really awesome, and I just loved that art style. And I just kept messing with this character over years and added different elements to him. Like the purple hood that he has comes from when I was in high school. Like I went to a Catholic high school, and we had to dress, in appropriate clothing every day. And the one thing we were allowed to wear was like our school colors, and it was purple. And I always wore this purple hood, and it reeked of weed and like Beast Light, like basically that's what it smelled like. And and then like the hair that flows out of his hat or out of his hood and stuff, that all came from my firstborn son. When he was born, he came out with this giant tuft of orange hair coming out, and I was like, that's kind of fun. And it kind of gives a little more movement to this character. When he's running around and stuff, you get a little more animation within the character and stuff. So I threw that in there, and just weird stuff for me growing up. I just added in here and there, and then all of a sudden I had this. He was like a full produced character, and I was like, why not just go forth with it and create a book? And I started on this book, probably like a year and a half ago or something like that. And I would post it up on Twitter, and I'd come on Twitter like every once in a while. and just post stuff up, and it would get some love. And I was like, maybe I should try to do something with this. So I did, and people seem to dig it and enjoy what I do with it, which is blows me away because in my immediate family and stuff, everyone that sees my work, they're like, it's it's bizarre, whatever. And I don't know, other people out there, I guess, are kind of in the same bizarre boat as me and dug it and decided to throw money at it. So that was real cool. But
Yeah, I don't know.
that's
I don't know that I'd call it bizarre, man. Like, I mean, you can totally see the Spider-Man influence for sure, just in the movements alone.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was so funny because Ethan talked about the book one time on his stream, and he's looking through it. He's like, "Man, it looks like you swiped one of my poses," and and when I went on his stream, I pulled up an old Instagram post from like 5 years ago, and I was like, "Yeah, Ethan, this came out before your book, so who swiped who?" And it was kind of fun. Like, no one swiped anyone. It just there's only so many poses you can really pull off.
Yeah, and a
Like
lot of the more agile
dynamic
characters
poses.
have a very similar, they strike very similar poses.
Yeah, and there's a reason why people draw things the way they draw them, and there is some method behind this madness. So yeah, and that's kind of like where the character came from and all that stuff. As far as what the story's about, this first book is 48 pages, and this throws you right into the mix. Like there's there's definitely character building within the story. You get hints of what the world's like and stuff, but it's mostly I kind of structured this all out like a horror movie. Like, so the first book would be like you know, the first part of a horror movie where you're kind of like thrown into the world. You get to see a little bit of what's going on. Uh, you get there's a scare. There's some excitement and stuff, just to get people kind of excited about the book because like no one knows who I am in the real world or in the comic book world. And this is my first project. And I didn't want to give people 48 pages of, backstory and, no excitement, just, story building, which of course is important. But, if I can hook people in with an exciting story, with a lot of exciting images, and get them interested in this character to actually care about where he came from. Like I figured that was probably the smartest route to take. So the 48 pages of this book puts you into the world, gets you excited about it, lots of action, lots of, silliness, comedy, horror all thrown in there. And then it leads you to want more at the end. And everyone will see how that plays out. And yeah, but the basic idea of this book is that this character, he's a screw up. Like I looked at Spider-Man, and it's like, who can really relate with Peter Parker? Like Peter Parker is a perfect person, like perfect kid and everything, very smart. Has a great trajectory in life, and he's going to do great things. I was like, let's take something a little more relatable and have this character be a screw up and be thrown into a world where he has to take on responsibility. He has to, accept his fate, and hopefully he can change his outlook on things and become a hero opposed to this degenerate clown, which he kind of starts off as. And, that's
Now, do
that's
you
pretty much how.
sorry, I was just curious, do you delve into backstory through like flashbacks or just explanation, or do you not really get into that in this book?
In the first book, there'll be like there'll be some explanation of a few things, hint you in. It's going to grab you, and you'll definitely have an idea what's going on. The second book will really delve into his backstory and a little more of the character development and kind of how he became this way. And so I've got 3 books written out for this, and I hired on a writer to help me out with everything and to keep things, cohesive and exciting. And I can write, but I also I hate myself so much. Like when it comes to writing stuff, I rip it apart. Like everything, like I write, I'm like, that sounds hokey and stupid and stuff like that. And even if it's not, I tear myself apart so much on that stuff. Where I was like, I'll bring someone else in and I'll hate them, and I'll pay them. And I can hate them.
You can pay them to be hateful.
Dave's a great writer. I love everything he's produced so far, and we have a lot of fun with it. And he's just as passionate about this project as I am, and
That's cool.
That's really awesome to find.
Now, are you
And we
as
get along-
critical with your artwork?
Yes, well, I've always been very critical of my artwork, but I've been drawing since I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I got to. The only reason I was confident enough to throw a book out here and be like, maybe people will buy it, is because I could look at books that Marvel and DC were producing, and I could pick out errors everywhere, and just laziness, all sorts of stuff. And I was like, I know I can do better than this. And so I gave it a shot, and then I really teased the people in Comicsgate with images for a long time, until I started picking up momentum and getting more followers and stuff like that. And that's when I finally pulled the trigger and launched the book, was when I saw a decent amount of followers. And I've seen a lot of really good books produced by people in Comicsgate, like really high level art and everything, and their books would make like $1,500 to $2,000. And I'd look at these people's timelines, and I'd be like, okay, where did they go wrong? Because they got a great story, they got awesome art, like this book should kill. And I'd go through, and I'm like, oh, they've been active for 3 months or 4 months, and they jump in, and they have 300 followers, not even 300. They have like a handful of followers, and then they throw this book out, and it's like no one knows about it, and it's not catching any wind. And it's like, well, that's the problem there. So I always held back before launching until I had somewhat of an idea of where it would go, but I didn't think it would do like this well. Like, it's definitely not as good as some books I've been out there.
You ever read any Roman Dirge?
I can't say I have.
Anyone else? Roman Dirge? You all know that name?
No,
No.
I don't know.
No.
The name. Bravo.
Okay. He has like a certain style, and it kind of reminds me of like Oddity reminds me of his style somewhat. And so like it's that kind of darker humor type, genre.
Yeah.
And so like that's really what like takes my interest with Oddity here, is because that's this type of stuff I'm into. And so that's why what I'm digging out of it is it has that feel to it, that dark humor. You never know what's going to happen to him. He looks a little teen angsty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's it does have a lot of dark humor in it. And, there's a lot of like ridiculous kill scenes, over the top, like comical kill scenes. And and it really comes down to like I love 80s horror movies where they use like tons of it's all practical effects, and like it didn't look real. Like most of them look pretty ridiculous, and it's hysterical. Like
I mean, like the animatronics that can't move because they've got all the latex laying over them, and like
exactly, it's
Funny shit.
it's funny stuff, at least to me. And I was like, if I'm gonna do a book, I'm gonna throw a lot of weird, quirky stuff in there that nods to a lot of the '80s horror and goofy stuff like that. Like if you actually pay attention to a lot of the scenery in the book, like there's the one scene where he's eating flies or eating maggots, and he's talking to this fly. And the fly, his name's Arrow, and he's kind of like his Jiminy Cricket. Like he's trying to like lead him in the right path. But they're always, kind of bickering and arguing with each other, a lot of banter going on. And there's a scene where he's like eating these maggots out of a Chinese box. And, it's kind of like a nod to like, Lost Boys. And then, he's arguing with the fly, and he's got the chopsticks in his hands, and
that's so funny. That's exactly what I thought was the scene from Lost Boys when he's sitting there eating the maggots.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it comes back to. But it also ties in because he's a frog, and it kind of makes sense, whatever. And then like I've always had a huge fascination with like paranormal TV shows, like because I love listening to lunatics talk, like crazy people talk about how aliens shove something up their butt or something like that. Like I think that's like, fascinating and hilarious.
Like, now, how do you know they're lunatics?
Well, my better judgment would say that it wasn't an alien probe being shoved up their butt at that time. I mean, I'm not saying that nothing was shoved up their butt, but I doubt like, alien. Like, probably not. But so like I based this one character off of like Art Bell, and he's always like in a, he has his paranormal show. And, it's if you look at the bottom left corner of this page, you see him on the TV show, and he runs this show called Crypto Files. And it's like a nod to that silliness and stuff. And I've always found that stuff very entertaining. Like,
is that also like kind of a nod to Fright Night?
Yes. You know it. Like
Nice.
I love Fright Night. That's probably one of my favorite horror movies. And
You're so cool, Bruce.
the word. Thanks, Dave. Go back to your cage and write, Dave.
Now, is the book fully written?
The book is just about written wise. Yeah, it's just about there. Like since I hired him on, we're kind of like not doing all of it at once, but he does jump ahead to the next books a little bit and get some ideas going and stuff. But we know exactly how this 48-page book is going to end, and this is all flushed out. We've got this down. And unless Dave wants to say I'm lying about that as well.
Well, he said don't believe a word. So
yeah. So in that case, Dave, story-wise, it's done. Very much.
Yes, Dave corroborates your story.
Yeah, no, there's just a lot of goofy nods back to a lot of 80s, 90s, horror and comics and stuff like that. And it's something I always wanted to make. It's something that I dig. I didn't know. I had no idea if other people were going to dig this. And then some people were like, "Oh, it's another frog book," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, like it's nothing like it's like Cyber Frog's like a badass. This guy's a goofball, and
and it seems like you have a whole different tone here, also.
Oh, it's very different. But Ethan did dig it, and he offered to do that do that cover with us. So I was like, yeah, of course. Like, why, why wouldn't I say, yeah, let's do it? Like,
This is how I see it, because you were talking about Cyberfrog. Cyberfrog's like the Batman, right? The Batman frog. Where like Oddity here, he's like that kid that's walking along that just like happens to become the hero not expectingly. Like he's the screw up.
Like Spider-Man.
Kind of probably more teensy, angsty, trips over everything.
Like Beast Boy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
No, he's definitely like a goofball. Yeah,
like he's the fun superhero that was unexpected, like Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
I never watched Kick-Ass, but I'm assuming probably something along those lines. But yeah, he's just a goofball that gets thrown into this crazy world, and it's just fun silliness, really. Like this isn't like Charles Dickens or anything, or some something to change your life and really make you think about things or anything like that. Like
I was expecting the David Copperfield ending. Damn it!
So you're telling me this isn't going to give me the answer to, what's the purpose of life?
I mean, maybe in some like bizarre, really far out there notion. I don't know. No, there is actually underneath it all, like underneath all the goofiness and all that stuff. It is a story about taking on responsibility and owning up to that responsibility and hopefully becoming a better person. And,
Kind of like growing up.
yeah, it's exactly growing up. And yeah, I based them off a lot of it's me. Like, I still deal with it to this day. Like, yeah, I turned 36 today, and I'm still pretty much a giant baby that has an awesome wife that just kind of like leads me around, make sure I don't screw anything up too bad. So,
Well, you said that you started like kind of developing this character in high school, so
yep.
he would have grown with you, right? He would have grown up with you.
First drawing of him I've got right here. There he is. Yeah, that was
Definitely evolved.
yeah, he evolved quite a bit. The first one, you see he's wearing like a loincloth diaper.
Where's he gonna rape the bunny?
That looks like some Daisy Dukes, man.
What's that?
Looks like he wears some Daisy Dukes.
He does.
He's got his wrestler shorts on and he's gonna rape that poor bunny.
Oh, jeez.
Sweens, what did you do?
You can't just have frog nards hanging out there. But yeah, so I keep that off to the side. I look at it all the time, and I'm like, some bullshit inspiration to answer, insert it there. But yeah,
That's so awesome to see his beginning to where he's at now. Like,
oh yeah, I've got drawings for probably the past 15 years of this character just being developed and stuff. And yeah, it's always been fun. And I started like a false start on this book in 2014 or something like that. And I got a few pages in, and then it kind of like died off. I have a real job and real life and all that stuff, so kind of I couldn't dedicate all my time to it.
Right. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That real life shit always gets in the way.
Yeah, like real life stuff, like supporting your family and making sure everyone's not starving or they've got a house and stuff. So
yeah, who needs that?
That lane shit gets in the way sometimes. So
Screw all that adulting.
Right?
Make comics again, damn it.
All right, I'm going to say hello to the chat here real quick. Bianca Fights the Zombies with us, says Oddity looks like a lot of fun.
Yep, it's even more fun if you buy it.
Yeah. Dave's in the house, of course. Don't believe a word that Sweens says. James Hayes is with us, as always. Awesome moderator. He says it's the first time he's heard Lola talk about comics and art, and he is enjoying it.
Good job, Lola.
Yeah, man. We got Simon in the house. What's up, brother?
What's up, Simon?
And I'm not sure which Zaid this is. I think that's Brandon.
Ninja's Brandon. Right.
Love those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. They're cool dudes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sorry, I just threw a monkey wrench in that.
It's okay, man. My whole life's a monkey wrench.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
So yeah, absolutely. Anybody who hasn't checked this out yet, please do so. The links are in the description below, and James Hayes is also posting them in the chat because he's awesome.
Yeah, you know, that scene where he's eating the maggots and stuff.
Mhm.
That I'm just, you know, I have to give Sweens some, you know, some real kudos here, because that's just epic imagery right there. I mean, it really is. It's like, I would say this right here, and then the scene where he's sitting on the like ledge, or maybe the top of his sitting on top of his house.
Yeah.
Or whatever, that one right there.
Very hero pose.
Yeah, it's very epic. It's just it's
Yeah, they're iconic.
Yeah. Well, that kind of stems from I always studied cover art. Like, since I was a little kid, I always drew characters in these, you know, superhero poses, you know, and I just kind of got a knack for them. So when I get a chance to make something look like cover art, like, I take it and I get carried away with it and do what I can, and I appreciate that.
And, I mean, and also, you know, the fact that he's a frog makes this superhero pose look a lot more like it actually makes sense, because he's, you know, going to jump. He's not going to fly or just fall, or, you know, some superhero thing. He's actually going to jump.
Yeah, he's just perched up, about to do his thing, and then like all the like graffiti and stuff on his van. These are all guys that supported me from like day one. Like, guys that retweeted stuff and all that. Like, you know, I asked them, you know, what do you want? You want your Twitter handle? Do you want your real name? What do you want on, you know, embedded on the side of his creepy little van? And
For a good time call. No.
but it was just kind of like a thank you to those guys, because they, like, I couldn't have done any of this without people, you know, promoting the work and pushing it. And, you know, there's a lot of people that did it, and, you know, I thank them every time. But, you know, like, I wanted to do something, I guess, special for them, whatever. So I did that, and then I took some of their images. They're going to be in the book. I didn't charge them for that. You know, there was a tier to be drawn into the book, and, you know, that tier sells out pretty quick, and so all those people are getting murdered. Like, they're getting hit with chainsaws, and, you know, it's going to be hilarious and stuff, and hopefully they're cool with seeing their images or their likeness getting mutilated in a book. And if not, I don't know.
Well, who wouldn't be, honestly?
What's that?
I said, who wouldn't be? You know, I get the sense there's going to be a lot of swamp violence here.
Oh, yeah. Tons of swamp violence coming. I mean, it is madness in the marsh. By the way, a marsh is not a swamp. But it sounded good with the title, so we went with it. A marsh is actually mostly grass and, you know, plant-like stuff, not many trees. But a swamp has more trees involved.
And vines, and
yeah. It was funny. One person, I haven't gotten any negative feedback about the book, but one person was like, well, there's no way that that tree could support a trailer up in it. And I was like, did you see the main character? Like,
Just tell him the tree's petrified.
yeah,
You're like, this is
talking about this tree right here.
book.
there's no way the tree would support the weight of this RV or trailer up in it. And I'm like, dude, it's a comic book. First of all, the main character is a mutated frog, and you're probably retarded. So
You're looking for realism in a comic book.
Use the R word. Watch out.
Just tell him it's made out of space age plastic.
yeah, right.
There you are.
I'm like, if you want reality, there's other places to go to.
Tell him it's carbon fiber and he ordered it on eBay.
Yeah, it's super light, dude.
It's called imagination.
Right.
What is
Yeah.
that?
It's a comic book. You gotta,
Like
suspend that.
it's kind of like escapism, and you kind of throw reality out the window. But whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like every piece of entertainment you've ever looked at.
Exactly. But it's a, you know what? This image right here, I drew this, and it was like a sketch, and it was just like a goofy little drawing I did, and I threw it in there because I thought it was funny and fun, whatever. And it got so much positive feedback, and it got to the point where my writer was like, we should do an alternate cover with just that. And I was like, you really think that would work? And he's like, yeah, it's a sweet image. So we did it, and we added it on to like people that already backed it, and it did really, really well. Like people
That's cool.
really dig it, and it's just kind of like it's got this a little bit of an ominous feel to it. It's, you know, it's not like the original cover where you get kind of like the story, the whole story thrown into that image. It's kind of like, let your imagination run off with it and have fun with it, and people dug it. And you know, that was really cool that people did dig it. Like, because when I did it originally, I was like, well, it's fun, but I never thought people would want it as a cover or anything like that. And lo and behold, it did, and people dig it. So that was cool. Happy little accident. Happy little
So
treat.
I have a question for you that's curious in my mind here. So is the whole thing take place in the swamp?
Marsh.
There, it's a swamp, and then the outside of the swamp is a marsh. Damn it! I get this shit right.
The swamp marsh.
Yeah, and then there's the local town, like this hillbilly little town, and there'll be some scenes within the town and stuff like that. But mostly it is within the swamp, because the swamp is basically a character. Like the swamp has like magical elements to it. There's other characters within the swamp that, you know, come forth throughout the book. And, you know, in this, like I'm saying, the swamp is a character within the book. It's not just, you know, some lame swamp that's thrown in there. Like there's a lot of backstory.
Yeah, location should be, you know, like a character in the book.
It should be.
That's how you know.
Yeah, like
it's
a
fun,
living
it's
organism.
memorable.
Exactly. And growing up, like I was saying, I always drew like characters in superhero poses and cover art and stuff like that. And so doing backgrounds and stuff like that was always kind of a difficulty for me. Like until I forget which artist I was listening to. I think it was for some Disney documentary, but he was talking about developing scenery and how you have to treat it like a character. Like you really have to delve into that scenery and make it another character within the book, because if not, it falls flat. And you know, so that was in mind when I was creating all this stuff, and you know, just having fun with it. But yeah.
So when he travels around, is it always on foot? Does he ride in a car? Does he drive? Does he ride a 10-speed bike? How does he travel?
he travels mostly within the swamp. It's all treetop running around and stuff like that. Now, he is a teenage skateboard punk type dude, so there will be a little bit of skateboard type stuff thrown in there. Like that's part of me growing up and always enjoyed that culture. So there'll definitely be some of that thrown in there. When he's on land, he's going to mostly be running, jumping, leaping. But more often than not, he's jumping tree to tree, building to building. Like kind of like a tree frog, and yeah. And then on top of that, like kind of some of his abilities is like he has this wild tongue that has hallucinogenic effects on it. So like if you
versus his belly, right? Because I mean, most frogs you'd have to lick their belly that have the hallucination.
Yeah. It's not like he's an exact species of frog or anything like that. I kind of just looked at like, he's going to be this frog character, and I'm going to throw all sorts of different stuff that frogs might have and throw it into this character and just have as much fun as possible. But the first scene of the book where he's approaching the guy in the boat and he like hits him with his tongue, the dude starts hallucinating. And I don't know if you guys remember Creepshow from the 80s and stuff like that. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Like when something would happen, all of a sudden a noise would hit, like, "Rah, rah, rah," and these bright colors and like, would shoot up. That's kind of like what I was going for that scene where the dude's in the boat and he's tripping out. Like the dude's like hallucinating in that area or in that scene of the book, and that's one of the things he does. He causes people to trip balls.
Now this you have a figurine associated with, is it one tier?
Yeah, well, we had it as one tier, and now it is in the all-in tier, which is like you get everything, like everything in the kitchen sink, and that's a ridiculous tier. But if you want it, like it's there. And no, because I could only do a limited run of the prints for this character or the 3D sculpture, so we set it at 20, and they're getting printed out, and they come in they're in pieces, but it comes together like a jigsaw puzzle. So I have to do like an instructional video for each of those people to put it together. You can glue it together, or you can set it as is and change things out, but it'll come with like different jaws that'll have different sizes of the tongue attached. So like you can have him with his full tongue, out, or no tongue, or like a tongue halfway coming out.
Oh,
And
nice.
it all fits together like a jigsaw puzzle. And with 3D printing, you can print very sturdy plastics and stuff, but most of them, or all of them, when you print them out like that, you can only do one color. So these will be hand painted by me and a few other artists that I trust. Yes, and then those will all be shipped out, and I've been getting the feedback on them, and they're pretty sick. Like I'm pretty excited about it. It's much cooler than the one I have below shown. I gave a notification that there will be changes with production and all that stuff, but it's going to be sweet. So I'm pretty pumped about that as well. And yeah, it's a ton of work, but the one reason I can afford to do a lot of these extra things is because Dave will color them with crayon. So, one or two.
Are those crayons retrieved from Passion's back hole?
That was so funny last night. I was dying.
Take it
It's hilarious.
Passion's butthole.
What are you talking about?
Eeyore? No, I did work with Passion. I did some work
Awesome.
for him. He's a real nice guy. Very
He's a fantastic dude. I like that guy.
very professional, very on top of things. And when it comes to the printing aspect of things, like he's definitely worth talking to.
Oh, hell yeah.
My experience with that.
Yeah, he's a very stand-up dude.
Yeah, we were just doing a stream together, like at the 5 o'clock hour.
Oh, nice.
5 o'clock hour here, not there.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I did a piece for him too for his book.
Yeah, he was showing that off the trading card that you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun work. And
Yeah, he's cool. He's a great guy.
can you draw Sharkman too? He's talking about this one group chat we had going, and what was it? Passion had this shark character, and maybe I was a little harsh on the design of it.
Oh no.
I was telling him, you got to do this and that. And Passion was just, he was messing with it like live time, but and yet my rendition of it was much better. And if he didn't get with it, then that's his own problem. But
Classic Sweens.
So you're saying you believe that your Sharkman was superior?
my Sharkman was way superior, but
James wants to know: Did Passion survive War Campaign?
I would say that he did. I would say that he did survive. He did hit back, and then they gave him respect after that. So
wait, so when most people go on War Campaign, do they just get torn apart?
No, I think there was some history involved there that I don't know all the details to.
Yeah, they have a special love for Passion.
Yeah, when I was on there, Ro was tearing into Passion a little bit, calling him Eeyore and
Speak of the devil.
oh,
hey, Passion.
Is his back hole?
Were your ears burning?
We love Passion for drawing. I got his coloring book, and it was pretty pimp. I love that's my thing.
Yeah,
and so
great.
His coloring book was awesome. Like the monsters in that were just like over the top.
Yeah, they were
Yes,
cool.
they should be monsters.
When I was pushing my first campaign, I was doing a lot of shows with him as well. That's when he was doing the coloring book one. Yeah, I got some really cool stuff.
Passion popped my cherry.
Is that right?
Passion, really?
He's right on there. No, for streams, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, no.
He
popped my butthole cherry, and it was on a stream. Him and Ace, they had me on. I think they're the first stream I ever went on, and I went on, and I was super nervous, and I was like, okay, well, let's see how this goes. And then I found out the secret is you just get drunk before streams, and yes, people might be an alcoholic, but
we've noticed.
Whatever, Vic.
It was a good sized glass of wine there.
Oh, it was much better earlier.
You were great on my stream too, buddy. I had a good time with you.
Yeah, actually, I was sober on your stream, Vinny. Complete.
Yeah, I know. We were able to talk more.
Stone cold sober. Yeah. Yep. But
well, speaking of popping cherries, why don't we pop on over to Dr. Love before we do? Yeah, everybody.
Hey,
Dr. Love, I'm sorry. Captain Love. I've been doing that all day. You know, I caught myself when I was writing this up on Twitter and in the YouTube description. Yeah. I wanted to write Dr. Love. I don't know why. It's just been on my mind all day.
Because it's a very, very famous Kiss song. That's why.
But when I
was writing this book, I can't tell you how many times that song popped into my head. Just
but yes, Captain Love.
Captain
Drew,
Love. Yes.
would
sir.
you like to take it away and tell us about Captain Love?
I would, but I'm really proud of this movie that I have done. Can we have movie time?
Absolutely. I got to take this down and put it back up. But yeah, we'll do that.
Because I put a lot of extra work into this movie for my last 2 weeks of my campaign. So, and we're like down to 1 week. So it's been a week of it, and like 160 people maybe watched it.
All right. Well, it's about to be 161.
Oh,
Cool. Thank you for that.
The music was great too.
Yeah, that music's free use on YouTube. Actually, you can actually if you can get that, download it right off of YouTube. So.
Oh wow, very cool, man.
They have a huge selection.
You edited all that?
Yes, sir.
Very
That was awesome.
Yeah, I had to give more than I wanted to do a good catchy video, and I have the hardest time marketing my own stuff. I don't understand. There's some kind of like complex in my brain. Like I'm really good at marketing other people. Like I have no effort. I think it's because I have no attachment to the project. You know what I mean? So I can just objectify it. You know what I mean? But when it's my own stuff, it's like I overthink it. I have to have a feeling of motivation and inspiration, and you know what I mean. And it's extra weight that I don't need to carry around, man. I tell you.
You promote other work, right? Like you promoted my stuff a bunch, and you always have a lot of fun, like when you promote it. And when you promote this, you should be like, yeah, man, this is just some dick swinging fun. Like it is. Like that's what this book's about. Like it's cool, man. And
this reminds me of those like 80s action-packed films. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's inspired by a lot of like 80s action content. Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, you know,
like I can see Kurt Russell in this character.
Yeah, like, well, actually, one of my favorite movies. You ever seen Soldier, the Kurt Russell movie, where he was the soldier that was, you know, raised from birth to be a soldier, and then
Yeah.
That is also one of my favorite all-time movies. So there's a bit of that in this character also. Yeah,
That's cool.
I mean, he just seems like a man's man, badass that's trying to save the world, but yet he's, you know, got the female issue in there too. So
yeah. He's got a lot of, I try to make it a little like where he's got a well-rounded, you know, character. I mean, I would like to say that everything that went into it was all forethought, but a lot of it was like when I first invented the character, it was actually for a short film for myself, you know, which seems kind of silly, you know, I mean, but it wasn't like anything serious. It was just for fun. And so the character was invented over, you know, what would be like what I would think would be the most funnest things to do in a movie, you know what I mean? So it was combined with, you know, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, James Bond, you know, all kinds of like heavy metal comics I read over the years, little ideas.
Yeah, I can see heavy metal in that.
Right. Yeah. In fact, if you know, like if you've seen the heavy metal cartoon, I actually like hope in my heart that feeling of that cartoon is what really is like the same feeling you get from these pages. You know what I mean?
No, it's very fun. Like it's a fun looking book. You know, I promote it whenever I get on Twitter. I try to stay off Twitter as much as I can because it's a cesspool of negativity and just garbage.
Yeah.
No, when I
pull of the internet.
Yeah. But no, it's a really fun book. You got some great art, awesome images in there. As you're going past the thrust moment, I say, well, I did. That was just kind of happened, but no, it's fun stuff, dude. And you should be proud of it and be happy to promote it out to people.
Oh, I'm definitely proud of it, and I'm happy to promote it. It's just that I find it to be more difficult to promote because there's some kind of like, you know, I don't know, maybe it's because you know, it's my first comic book. There's just, you know, it's like I know it's awesome. I've spent you know a shitload of fucking money on this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean if I didn't believe in it 120%, I wouldn't still be spending money on the next book, which is created right now. So, you know, it is something I believe in, and I am, you know, basically putting myself in the poorhouse right now, making this thing work for real. You know, it's a dream that I've gambled my life on in all reality. So yeah, you know, so I think that aspect might be what's making it hard for me is that there's a lot of pressure on me about it.
So you put a whole lot of pressure on yourself for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're getting more like anal about it, and it's when it comes time to push it a little bit harder, you're getting nervous, and you gotta stop psyching yourself out.
Oh, I know. I'm trying to be loose, man. I try to be loose about it, but I can't tell you. There are times when I wake up in the middle of the night and I have to go puke. I'm serious, straight up true.
That's what it's like launching a book, dude.
It's part of being a creator.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at this point, I mean, it's like I said, I have a week left on the campaign, and you know, I don't have the money that I need to get the printing I want done. A lot of people don't realize my situation. It's kind of weird. It's not like the normal situation. It's because of Christmas, and because I want to get the people's books done and delivered to them in time for Christmas. Right. I need to have, I either need to have a lot more money in my campaign, or I got to actually, you know, go further into debt because I need to have enough books. So like, if I do go in demand, I don't have to like make everybody wait 3 months on top of it. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just poor timing. And, you know, if I was in the opposite situation, I think I wouldn't be as stressed out. Whereas like, if I was building the books off of, you know, funds that I got in the campaign versus the other way around.
Yeah, you did. I think you did it the right way. Like,
yeah, tell it to my stomach, man.
You got a finished product. So
Yeah,
that's way ahead of the game than a
A
lot of
lot.
other people. That's for
Well,
sure.
there's guaranteed facilitation. I'll tell you that. That's one thing nobody has to doubt. The book, you're gonna get a book, and the book's gonna be freaking awesome. It's gonna be perfect bound. It's 72 pages. It's gonna be printed on the best quality stuff. I went around and I've checked on a lot of different printers, and the printer I decided to use is gonna be high quality. They specialize in printing comic books. That's what they do. So it's going to be, this book is going to be as good as anything you would get from the big dogs on mainstream off of a bookshelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your goal set at right now?
Oh, I reached my funding goal. I set it to 1,500. I'm at 16 something right now. So
Okay.
but that 1,500 was a modest goal that I set so that I could reach it, so that I would be able to go in demand in worst case scenario. That was my worst case scenario. So
Well,
I mean,
we need to push this then.
oh yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
this needs
Will you be going in demand then?
It really depends. I have to make that decision when I see what the numbers are at the end of my campaign, because I have to, like, because basically I have to say, okay, well, I need to order X many books, because see, but the worst case is if I don't order enough books, right, and then I go in demand, and then there's a big huge explosion, everybody's going to expect their books right away because I'm in demand. You know what I mean? So.
Right.
So it's I have to make sure that I can order enough books to go in demand with, and I only have so much room on my credit card, and I don't know if I can get another loan or not yet.
Yeah.
So it's
You got to crunch those numbers and be smart.
Well, I
Don't-
was going to get a loan. I was going to get a loan and just do this the mainstream route. That was my original plan until I found Comicsgate, and I said, okay, well, I'm going to try this route. I'm going to try this crowdfunding thing. I'm going to see how this works for me. And I mean, because it's I see this as a business, something long term, and I didn't want to have to do a lot of the stuff that the mainstream does. And so, like, if I could sell a bunch of books this way, then it would be a little easier to go next step, conventions and bookshelves. But I mean, right now, it's at the numbers I'm seeing right here, I mean, it's going to if we don't step this up, if we don't push this thing hard, and if I don't get this thing to explode a little bit, and I'm not saying a lot, I mean, seriously, if I break 5, I don't have to borrow any money.
Yeah.
If I break 10, you know what I mean, I'm actually, like, going to have a little bit left over, but I'm still not making my money back. You know what I mean? I would actually have to get to the $20K range before I actually start to see a profit, from this campaign. And then I would like to, if I get to 25, I probably take the between 20 and 25, profit level, and give that to my illustrator and my colorist as bonuses. So I wouldn't even until after 25, I wouldn't even see profit from my pocket. So you know what I mean? So as far as all that goes, I'm not even counting on any of that. I mean, in a week, I don't see that happening. If I can get enough between now and then to order enough books to where I can sit on in demand, maybe we can get to that point. And then if I see it raising again, because of the way that the money works after you're in demand, I guess you get it like monthly or whatever. I mean, then I can just order more books, and then we can just keep it working out of what I have in stock versus that. And then when that dries up, I could, go somewhere else. But and I got another book that, I mean, seriously, my next book, chapter 1 of Rise the Pirate King, is page 19 is colored, uploaded. I need to obviously letter them still, but once, and there's only 24 pages. So there's like another 5 pages and a cover of that. And then that wing will be ready to go, campaign wise. So, I mean, I'm obviously going to sit on that for a while before I put it up for a campaign, but it's almost ready to go. So
now, one way some people really get their name out there, especially within Comicsgate, is to have other artists within Comicsgate jump in and do a promotional piece or something.
Yeah.
Which, of course, will cost more money, which is something no one ever wants to do, but you got to weigh the pros and cons from that. So, like, if you went to someone, like Donald DeLay, or even Carl Rowe, who's just kind of budding right now, like within Comicsgate, dude, there's all sorts of artists within there. And if you even just hinted at them, like, I'll throw you X amount to do a little promo ad, then, and then say, well, this will be this could be a pinup added on to one of the tiers. Like, that's something that might entice people to look at the project and gain a little more clout, maybe. And
yeah. Well, I don't want to soak up my little bit of profit. I mean, a little bit of funds right now, enticing people to return to the same point. You know what I mean? So it's, if, I mean, obviously Vinny and I talked about, a piece, when I got to a certain point, you know what I mean? And we've discussed numbers and it was like not a problem at all. You know what I mean? But the thing is, we're nowhere near that point.
Talk to you about that.
Yeah.
He does beautiful work, and you got plenty of, hot chicks in the book and stuff. So if you want someone to draw hot chicks, we got this pervert Vinny down here.
It's not pervert, it's Boner King.
Yes, the man has a title. Come on.
the Boner King.
Yeah.
So where all have you pushed Captain Love?
I have pushed Captain Love like silly since October 1st. In fact, I've maybe get about 2 hours of sleep at night, if that. And
I'll be honest with you, this is the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, isn't that pathetic? And that is really sad because I've been pushing the hell out of it. And
I honestly, I would push this book for you. Like, I have no problem pushing this book. It's got the 80s feel, it's got the action, it's got the women. Like I feel like people are in Comicsgate are listening to us when we're like, hey, we want women that have, tits and ass, because that's what women have. Well,
one of the things that okay, so like the first when I first discovered Comicsgate, the first person I contacted was Arch City Comics, and to ask about being on the show, because they were talking about up and coming writers being on the show, and I was I was not technically Comicsgate then, because I'm still technically baby Comicsgate. I mean, I've only been around since July, but I asked him, I said, can I come on your show and talk about my book? My book is very Comicsgate friendly. It is totally like, I share the values with Comicsgate and the whole 9 yards. And, we talked back and forth, but I didn't get on their show till, just recently. So it's the downside is that, people have to, you can't just like tell everybody and then they know. You know what I mean? Right. I've been shouting from the rooftops for 30 days, and like I said, this is the first time you've heard it. I mean, and I should slap gays for that, because you guys been doing shows together how long?
Hey, listen, it's not my fault the woman doesn't pay attention to the things I say.
Well, I know, like almost every morning, I promote the shit out of so many projects, and I know I always grab Captain Love, and I've been showing it.
Yeah, Vinny has religiously been retweeting and promoting, and and Gaze also. I mean, he has. I mean, in fact, the two of you and RCD Comics, the three of you guys were the the ones that I wanted to do the launch party with, and we did launch party, and I mean, that was awesome.
It's like I told you, man. It's always the first campaign is the trickiest. It really is. Either it could hit right away, or you might not. But I mean, like, you can't give up on it, because it's the same.
You guys know I'm a marketer by profession, right? I mean, it's actually what I do: analyze stuff and actually market things for a living, and which is why it's so frustrating to me that my book is not doing very well. In fact, I have people that have been making fun of me since I started this campaign, saying, "Oh, you're going to fail. This is a crowdfunding campaign. No one's going to know what you're doing." Blah blah blah. People in my industry have been making fun of me extremely hard. They've been laughing at me and mocking me because of the situation that this has been, and that's no joke. But I believe in the project. They know it's a great book. They just think that I was stupid for crowdfunding, and I'm like, well, I had to crowdfund. I don't have any money left. You know what I mean? So it's.
I don't get the big deal. What's wrong with crowdfunding?
Yeah, exactly. Fuck those people who are laughing at you.
Yeah,
those are shitheads.
Those are people that have no passion for.
They are shitheads. They are shitheads. They really are. That they are shitheads for a living. That's what they do.
I mean, those people have passion for nothing. right? Like they're getting up, going to their 9 to 5, living life, just monotonous, right?
Oh yeah, they're fucking just ruthless, don't give a fuck salespeople who have no artistic blood in them at all. So
So fuck
Your
them,
opinion
fuck the
shouldn't
haters.
matter.
I think a lot of people forget when you produce a project like this. I'm sorry, Lola, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Keep
Now
going.
I feel like a dick. But when you do this, you do like you're very vulnerable, like for critics. You're very vulnerable to people clowning on you for making something and believing in it, and they'll come out of the woodwork and just shit on you because they don't have the balls to put themselves out like that.
yeah, none of these guys talking shit have their own product at all.
If they don't,
And the thing is a lot of them are jealous of my marketing success with other people's products because I would get gigs that they wanted. You know what I mean? They're getting their huge thrill out of seeing what in their mind is my failure. You know what I mean? So
It should be your job not to listen to them because
I really try not to. The problem is that I'll go to a meeting and I'll sit down and then then I realize they come in with the door walking and they're talking mad shit, and then they look, he's right here, and then they start talking mad shit, locker room bust your balls, but they don't realize how much it fucking hurts and how much I'm fucking not sleeping and how much I'm not eating and how I get up in the middle of the night and I puke. You know what I mean? It's like if they were aware of all that, they probably even be more brutal. You know what I mean? So it's like, but fuck all that. I feel like I'm feeling sorry for myself here. Fuck that. It's not an option. You know what I mean?
No, hold on. Like your success or your failure is not them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Like,
I know it's not them. My success or failure, fuck all them on that. It just stings because
you're doing better than them, and it's gonna piss them off because they know they can't do it.
That's right.
They couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm hoping the book succeeds, successfully, even if not this campaign is so great. Like later down the road, the next campaign, this book starts taking off. I'm still going to push the Captain Love brand, the Captain Love idea, every way I can. If this doesn't work, whatever, I mean, I'm not going to stop being Comicsgate. I mean, Comicsgate aligns with my values, so you know what I mean. It's
Beautiful. Yeah. It takes balls to do this.
Yeah, it does. not necessarily testicles. Girls can do it too. Not trying to be a chauvinist here.
Of course.
I always love this. He's just a dude. Like he's just straight up like, well, yeah, he's just no bullshit. Vinny's a good guy. That's why.
Yes, man. Yeah, that's how it is. That's how I always see it. I put logic on everything. I take everything for face value, and people are being shitheads. That's exactly what Lola was saying. They're jealous. They're assholes. They want to get off on it. It doesn't matter.
That's because they're miserable. They're miserable in life. They have nothing. Yep. You know what I mean? Like I said, they go to their 9 to 5s or whatever. They come home. They're miserable. Nobody cares to hear anything they really have to say.
Yeah. People who make fun of other people on a daily basis, that's exactly what they are. It's a reflection on themselves. Yeah,
you guys.
A lot of them are former jocks. You know what I mean? And and actually, one of them, believe it or not, is somebody I played football with in high school, and he's really loving this.
Well, that explains it right there. His glory days are still in high school, so.
I fucking broke his foot in high school, so.
Relive that in your head every time he opens his mouth.
Oh, I told him to shut up or I'll break his neck next. But he just thought that was funny.
Hey, so. calm down now. You don't want to go to jail with Pan.
Break his neck in Minecraft.
Okay, Indy Dave's got a good question there, Gaze. Where were you before July?
Where was I before July?
Yeah.
I've been in the same place. I didn't know Comicsgate existed before July. I found my book, believe it or not, was done in May. And then I was basically hunting out my distribution options. And I at first I was told by my comic book store that's local said I should go talk to Image Comics. And truth of the matter is, I didn't even know Image Comics existed until I started going back to comic book stores, because when I stopped reading comics, Image thing wasn't a thing yet, and so so I got back into comics, and then I started. The comic book store owner turned me on to Saga because he said it's the best selling comics out there, and it's mature, and so he was all like, "You want to check this out?" And I did, but anyway, so he told me I should go talk to Image. And then instead of talking to Image, I said, you know what, instead of going direct to these guys, let me talk to some people I've spoken to who've done books through Image. And those guys told me, because my book was done and, already made, I've already paid for it, that I should not go to Image, because what they will do is they will, tell me to change my book, spend more money on it, and do it the way they think it should be done so that they can get their editor credit on it. And I was like, what, really? I thought it was creator owned. And they're like, yeah, sort of, and that really kind of irritated me to like a new extreme. And of course, at that point, I'm like depressed, I'm like, well, what the fuck am I going to do? So I decided, okay, well, I'm going to check into being my own publisher. You know what I mean? And I decided that I would make Mr. E Comics a real thing. And then I did. And then I contacted Diamond Publishing and said, okay, well, what's going to take to fucking get my book, distributed through you guys? And they said, okay, well, it's going to have to be 1,000 copies in our warehouse. And I showed them the book, and they're like, we like the book. It's going to have to be 1,000 copies in our warehouse. And you're going to have to spend a minimum of $2,500 through our marketing. And we recommend that you actually spend $5,000 through our marketing sources, basically their publication,
Yeah.
Well, see, one of the pros to doing crowdfunding and doing indie comics is you can do it your way. You don't have anyone sitting over you telling you what you need to change, what you need to do. You can do it your way. It's your story being in your art being put out there your way.
Yeah. But that's where I align with Comicsgate is I don't like people telling me, how I should change, my comic to suit their fucking politics or their idea of what, it's, I didn't want to risk someone saying to me, oh, you got to fucking tone down the nudity, or you got to make Captain Love, you got to give him more dialogue, you know what I mean? Or
make Captain Love celibate.
Right. Or something, you know what I mean?
Captain Love into a female, right?
Or something, who knows what the fuck they would do, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, this book is written. I mean, it's done. I'm not changing it. I spent so much time and energy and fucking making the script. Then I spent a shitload of fucking energy going back and forth with my fucking illustrator, fucking slamming our fucking heads against the phone, fucking arguing this art point against this point, what would be right here, what would be right there, to get fucking 72 pages done. You know what I mean? And we finally got a working vibe going, and it's like, what the fuck? Come in and change that? What? No. So that was frustrating to me. And then the whole Diamond Publishing thing, it was okay, but there's just no way I could afford that. You know what I mean? And so plus I wanted to keep the next book going. I want to keep my illustrator employed so that he doesn't go somewhere else. I mean, he has another 2 projects he's working on. But I want to make sure he's still, because he's passionate about this project. He loves this project. I mean, you can see it in his work, and that's something that I don't want to lose. Yeah. And so it's about trying to make the project survive right now. I mean, I will go into the poorhouse, as long as I can feed my cats and pay my bills. I will go without anything else, and that's pretty much how it's been. But it could get worse. I think my credit union will give me a loan if I need one, but it just seems jacked up that I would actually have to go that route at this point. You know what I mean? It's just
I think you can do it.
I hope I can.
You may have to go in demand, but there's nothing wrong with going in demand.
What just happened?
Wow.
Technical difficulties.
Oh God. No.
Well,
also, you can always do another campaign. Like if it doesn't get to where you need to go, do what you have to get these people that, and then maybe come back a little later, build up a little more, and then drop it on people because it's a great book. It's got a great storyline. The art's pretty freaking sweet, dude. Like, there's no reason why it shouldn't succeed, and it just comes down to how many eyes are hitting it.
Yep.
Yeah, well, what I've learned about Comicsgate wasn't what I thought when I first came into it, and then some people agree with this, some people may not agree with this, but this is something, as a marketer, as somebody who's a professional marketer, I analyze these kinds of situations, and after being in it, I got to see it even closer up, and so what it really comes down to is endorsement. It really, it doesn't matter how long you've been around. It doesn't matter, how awesome your book is. It matters who says your book is good, and it's because I guess the consumers feel like they need to be told what to buy, and I don't have the clout to endorse my own book enough because I don't have any previous books.
Yeah,
and so the guys that do have the clout have not really, been reaching across. You know what I mean? And I'm not a beggar. So I'm not going to be all, please, please, please.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
no, you're going about the right way. And like just because I don't have you been on Ethan's show?
nope.
Feel like,
although Ethan did spend like 5 minutes talking about my book on his show, and I got like 5 sales out of it, but then he didn't keep the stream up. So,
yeah, he doesn't. A lot of his comic book lives, videos, and all that stuff, he doesn't keep up. Like, he'll keep them up for like a day or something like that, and then he usually kills them off. The reasoning I couldn't tell you, but
that one in particular, I think, was like over 4 hours, and that's probably why, because that messes with the algorithm.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and usually when he does have all the guests on, and I'll tell you this, he gave my book tons of endorsements, and he didn't do it till after our first 3 days, I think. And usually your first 2 days is when your first 2 days, they say you get like a third of your backing, and then it just drops off like hard, and you'll go through this dry spout for, you might get a few sales here and there every day, something like that. And then your last 2 days, you get like another third. And that's usually like where they say it generally, falls. So you make a third your first 2 days, you make a third your last 2 days, and then in between you make the rest. And it comes and goes. And with us, like we started off like a rocket. We did really well.
Yeah, you guys have a universally friendly product, and you were building up your following for a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly.
I didn't have that same opportunity. I was heavily invested financially in this thing.
Yeah,
and then I had to launch it. I mean, it was what, the middle of September, and and the guys were saying, no, you have to launch, like right away, put it up for mail right, for the mailing list right now, and then like launch by October 1st, because you got to have, because it's basically Christmas morning,
People said the same thing to me, and I bled my campaign out. Well, I didn't really start my like everything until like October of 2018.
Yeah.
Maybe. And I just kept creeping out work left and right. Like, whenever I got stuff done, I put it out there, and then I get a few followers and people liked it and stuff like that. And it was a very slow burn.
Right. And if my book wasn't already made, I would totally take the same exact approach. However,
I'm at a completely different angle than you, because I do all the artwork, and then you're paying artists, and you need to pay them, and then you need to be paid. You need to get money.
I have. Let me just say it. There has not been one penny for me yet. You know what I mean? And I mean, let's be honest. There's no shame in this. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, not counting the money that I wasted on the first artist who burned me, or the second artist who also burned me. Not counting that, I am 20K into this project with this book and the next. You know what I mean? I am 20K into it. And that is my entire savings, and some of my personal credit. And that's where I'm at right now. And I'm still pushing. And I just paid my colorist, for, like the other day, for another set of pages. And my illustrator is working on chapter 2. You know what I mean? So it's like, as soon as he's gonna be sending me pages soon that I'm gonna have to pay him for. And and obviously I have credit. I have my own business. I'm a competent individual, but I mean, it's like, the interest rates, those just get bigger and bigger. So every month the bill's a little bigger. Every month the bill's a little bigger. Every month it's just a little bit bigger. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it starts to get overwhelming. And it's like I can still manage it for a little while, or and if it gets to a point where I can't manage, I can shut it all down. Although I think I have good credit. I could probably get a loan, and dump all my credit card debt on that, and then inflate my debt further. But
don't do that much to your credit, like over something like this. Like,
when you say over something like this book is everything to me. I cannot back down. I mean, it's like I have sacrificed relationships over this book. I have sacrificed fucking opportunities over this book. I am eating less. I am sleeping less. I have made so much sacrifice over this book that if I back off now, if I don't push and give it everything I have and it fails, then I only have myself to blame. So fuck that. I have to push. You know what I mean?
No. Well, I admire that. Like that's
what I need is I need more of the Comicsgate community. Brothers out there, you hear the call? I'm begging for you. Seriously though, that's what we need, you know what I mean? And
what I'm hearing is you have the passion for this. Like, this is your passion. Like, everything you've got in you is going into this.
Yes. I mean, I have more lined up after, in me. I have more, like stories in me. But right now, I'm giving everything I got into this to make this work. Yeah. I haven't had my own product in like over 20 years. The last time I had a product, it wasn't even a real product. It was a rock and roll band. You know what I mean? And that was the product, getting gigs and doing that kind of stuff. And then if you know anything about being in a band, it's like you're being in a relationship with several people. You know what I mean? It doesn't always work very long. So that sounds depressing. Captain Love.
Well, why don't we get? You have a
hero.
question in the chat here. What year is Captain Love? Is it this universe? Is it a different universe?
Captain Love is this solar system, and he would be at least 300-400 years in the future. The date is not defined at this point. However, there is no interstellar travel. So basically, at this point in the series, in the story, there has been nobody who's traveled outside of the solar system for any major depth, because there's not like light speed travel. I think that the fastest they go is probably quarter light speed. It's not really addressed, but it takes like 30 hours to get to Jupiter. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So
gotcha.
And then if you know how the solar system works, I try to write reality like that. So like, Mars and Earth aren't always positioned on the same side of the sun. You know what I mean? So
right. Gotcha. Sweens, did you need to get going, buddy?
Yeah, I've got people here and they're yelling at me.
Hey, Sweens, dude, happy fucking birthday, man.
Hey,
I want you to have an amazing goddamn birthday, and I want you to get so fucking drunk that you almost puke. Don't puke, but I want you almost there.
I'll definitely drink and puke, and then I'll take a picture of it and put it up on Twitter for everyone to see.
Awesome. I will like that picture for you.
Probably gonna look like some afterbirth because I've been drinking wine all night. So
yeah, do that tonight because you'll probably think twice tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Thank you guys so much for having me on. Vinny, I love you. Vinny's book's awesome. Like, absolutely, he draws the most, probably all. He draws this beautiful window. And, of course, I was excited to hear about Mystery and dropping Captain Love. And I will push you as much as I possibly can until I make Comicsgate gag. And then make him gag. But I wish everyone the best of luck and good fortunes for the future. And thank you so much for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
I really
thanks for
appreciate
coming, man.
Yeah.
Especially on your
you guys-
birthday, man. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, man.
Yeah, man.
Bye, guys.
Later, brother.
He's a good dude, man. He's a really righteous dude.
Yeah, he really is. He's a trip.
He's funny too. He's really funny. That when he calls himself a manlet, I swear I almost want to pee myself.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I think most of us feel. We just don't actually say it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, hey, man, I'm sorry about bringing the fucking chat down, fucking and everything. I mean, it's I am at a very stressed out point, and I just let it all fly tonight, and I got it out. Usually, this kind of stuff is kept pretty private, so.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, I know, man.
understandable.
So yeah. So why don't you scroll down? We'll talk pictures.
Absolutely.
I mean, Lola hasn't heard nothing about the book. Lola, you got questions? Is she on mute?
She is on mute.
She is on mute. All right. Well, this is the cover here, and the cover is obviously what the original tier book. So, like, if you wanted to get just the book, you would get the original cover, which is $20. And my tier does not have shipping. So if the first 5 tiers don't have shipping, you can get the original cover or the variant cover either for $20. You can get a signed for $25. You can get both the original and variant for $30. And again, that's not shipping on top of that. That's $30, and you get the freaking 2 books. And then I have $35 for 2 original covers with one of them signed. And then that is the last of the free shipping tiers. Well, not the last of them, but that's the last of the first 5. The only other free shipping tier is the nuclear option at the very bottom. Now, this one here is the one book and the trading cards. Now, all 9 trading cards you get in this thing. So it's actually a really good value, because if you thought these trading cards come in 3 packs and they're randomized, so if you thought of how long it would take to get all 9, you know what I mean? You would probably end up spending a small fortune and end up with a lot of cards that were extras that you would have to trade, which is why they call them trading cards.
Right.
But this, and only in this campaign, because collectors, because I love you motherfuckers so goddamn much, I'm going to let you buy all 9 cards together with the book. So, because I'm not greedy like that. So, does that sound believable? All right.
Somewhat.
All right. And then we got one Birkin the shirt for $45. And obviously the shirt says "All you need is love" on it. It's a great little design, a little play on words there. And then the one of everything, that is going to be both covers, a t-shirt, and a 3-pack of cards with that, and the one with everything. And then the couples pack is both covers and 2 shirts. One is for you and your significant other, whether that be your male significant other, your female significant other, or some other thing. But this shirt,
Any of the other 96 genders.
Any of the other 96 genders, yeah. But it only has 2 sleeves, so only bipeds, please.
Oh well, that's bigotry right there.
only against bestiality. And then we got the collector's pack, which has 2 of the original covers, but one of them is signed. A variant cover. This one has all 9 cards and a t-shirt. So. And
that will not fit your bestial lover.
It will not fit your 4-legged friends. All right, and then the Santa perk. Now, the Santa perk is something that I did because it's Christmas delivery time, and I thought that this would make a great Christmas present. Hint, hint, hint. Okay, so it has 3 books, 3 shirts, and 3 of the 3 packs of cards. So you can give it 3 presents or 2 presents and keep from yourself, or keep it all for yourself. I don't care. I'm not going to judge.
But Santa will.
But Santa might be watching. He sees you when you're sleeping, He knows when you're awake.
As long as he doesn't see me in the bathroom after I wake up.
No, he watches you in the shower though.
I'm cool with that.
While he eats those cookies. He's like, yeah, Red. Dip it in that milk.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Slower.
If
All right, you know what? I went straight to the bathroom and masturbation, and you somehow made it creepier with dipping cookies in milk.
We're talking about Santa. He's a pedo, right?
Oh, damn.
Okay, have you guys familiar with the band? What the hell is the name of that band? I hate being old and having senility. This sucks.
Nope, don't think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, right. They were from Sacramento. Damn, I can't. I'll tell you in a second. I'm gonna Google their fucking song.
Sublime?
DMX.
No.
DMX.
Love Hate. You guys familiar with the band Love Hate?
I don't think so.
They're a totally 90s, late 80s, early 90s band. They had this song called Prom Queen, and like the lyrics were Prom Queen 16, buxom blonde, hurt me, let me eat your cookies, let me touch your cookies.
Whoa.
So, yeah, so like when you're talking about dipping cookies in milk, after all that, that's where that's where my head went. Howard Beholden's name is, oh, the lyrics are so creepy, aren't they?
Very creepy.
It sounds creepier when Vinny says it.
Prom Queen, the blonde hurt me.
I applied it to an old man with a full white beard who's watching children.
Yes, watching children eating cookies, getting crumbs in his beard, dipping it in milk, and his beard is sitting in the milk cup as well. Just
Maybe Polanski's gonna make a movie on him.
Just close up on his face.
That's toys to children.
Yeah, I think Polanski would be getting in on that action.
And he's licking his fingers afterwards, really like thoroughly,
It's all downhill.
But yeah, Lola, do you have any questions about Captain Love?
We're not getting presents this year, are we?
Call for all of you. I'm gonna call Krampus, man.
Is it back
You're all
cold?
gonna visit from Krampus.
I hear them hooves.
So who we're looking at here, that's the executive general. The executive general is the key bad guy in this book, by the way. He is the villain. He actually was part of the corporation, and he is the entire reason why what is called the cleansing, which is a nickname for the war against the corporation against the planets. And he basically decided that because the planet Venus, which is the pleasure planet, was corrupting the minds of the workers, making them less efficient because they were having too much fun on Venus, that he had to eliminate that. Since he tried to take a piece of the action, and the Queen of Venus told him no. So he decided that Venus had to be destroyed, and everybody who had that mindset, who had been affected by Venus, had to be eliminated, thus cleansed.
So he doesn't subscribe to no means no.
He doesn't subscribe to anything that doesn't work in his favor. Yeah.
I can relate.
Is that how you are?
Well, it depends. Depends. There's a line that I won't cross, but I'm not going to tell you what that line is.
Yeah. Is it the center line on the freeway?
I just got done telling you I'm not gonna let you know.
I thought you might slip up, I test you on that one.
No, of course not. I don't slip up. That's not true. That's a bold-faced lie. I slip up all the time.
That's so funny. Yes, I slip up a little bit once in a while. That's why nobody lets me show my PDF anymore.
Oh,
what?
Your what?
my PDF, my PDF of the book. Because the nipple shots get on everybody's streams.
Are we still talking about Captain Love?
Apparently, I was the only one. Funny. All right. So seriously though, are there any questions about the book? I would love to answer questions. How about in the chat? Anybody got any questions about the book?
Oh, that's a good question. I've pretty sure I've grilled you on this book. Vinny, is there anything you don't know that you would like to?
I mean, it looks cool to me. I don't have too many questions. My head's half in the work I'm doing right now, so sorry if I'm a little quiet here and there as well.
No, I'm assuming the print that you two are working on is no longer involving Hexbox.
That is correct, and we don't know if the print's going to happen unless we can get to a certain, range. I mean, obviously, it might still happen if we don't get to 15K. It might happen earlier. You know what I mean? It depends on budgeting and timing. So.
Mhm. Yeah.
I still like to see the Queen of Venus and her slaves done in a pinup by Vinnie. That would be an awesome piece of artwork, and it would mean a lot to me if everybody could get behind to back this book so we can make that happen.
Yeah, man, that'd be cool. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I think we'd all like to see that.
Yeah.
Hard Boiled Entertainment is wondering, Drew, I think this is for you. Is there ambition to compete with Vinnie for kingship?
No, I will never be a boner king because I can't draw this shit. No, but that doesn't mean that Vinnie and I won't team up someday and write the epic boner novel.
You can inspire boners.
Get your wording right.
But not quite to the level of Vinnie.
I think boner novel is probably the wrong term.
Well, it depends what you're going for.
Oh shit. We're gonna be launching that on War Campaign.
That's a good idea.
The War Campaign boner novel. Yeah, that could end up being funnier than it should be.
You're right. Oh, man. Oh, shit. I've been working too many hours, man. I seriously have. But we have so many awesome projects coming. 2020 is going to be just jam packed with cool stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I think everyone should be jumping on Captain Love, especially that you have issue 2 is already in the works.
Yeah, issue 2 will be out. Summer 2020 is when I intend to launch that shit. You know what I mean?
Nice, man. So yeah,
issue 1 is already completed. So yeah, absolutely, take a look at this book.
And I'll have for people who can't make this book for whatever reason, I'll probably have some issues of this book left over that I haven't sold yet that I'll be able to put up as special parts of limited tiers with issue 2. So there'll be an opportunity to get your hands on this book as well, but it won't be a magical, tremendous, special collector's item version of this book unless you purchase it during the campaign.
That's right. I just saw that title. The Art of Taking Back Holes.
The Art of Taking Back Holes by Boner King.
I love it.
Is that going to be your next book, Vinnie? Or is that going to be your memoir 20 years from now?
That's going to be my masterpiece.
Yes.
Now,
yeah.
Is master spelled MASTUR piece? I'm just wondering if
we're going to have a forward by Red in there. It's going to be great.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, count on that.
So for people who don't know, this book is the actual backstory of how Love meets Spade. Now, Spade is an artificial intelligence. It stands for Synchronous Protocol Artificial Intelligence Delegate. Now, what that means is that she can exist in several computers at once, and she's fully conscious and aware of herself and her existence. She actually has feelings and emotions, and she can be temperamental. She can be a smartass. But she can exist in multiple computers at the same time. And then if they are able to connect to each other, she is one singular entity through the connection. Otherwise, she is separate entities with the same personality.
That sounds like one of my exes. In all computers at all times. Very emotional.
Temperamental. Yeah. Sounds like most of mine, actually.
Well, we all got to relate to something, right?
Exactly.
If only we could have shut them off.
Now wait. Now check this out. You want to see how much it does relate to that. Now see, Captain Love has an optical and audio implant because of the cleansing. He got injured really bad, and they had to heal him and repair him. So his eye and his ear is mechanical, and there's a little computer that exists in his head that runs the optical and audio implant. and that computer is obviously wired to his brain.
Mm-hmm.
So it has a wireless input. So that's how Spade escapes the space station. She actually hijacks Love's head.
Wow.
Oh.
So you want to talk about psycho woman that you're trapped with for life?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a real problem.
Yeah, what's funny is Love just he realizes instantly he can't do shit about it, so he's pretty nonchalant about the whole thing.
Is that why you drink so much?
Actually, he drinks so much because his heart is completely broken. So there's 3 stories in this book. The first part of the book, it talks about how Love meets Spade, and then Spade goes after Love's backstory. So you get to learn how he was the hero of the cleansing. You get to see some of the battle scenes and how he got that nickname. And you get to learn about the cleansing itself. And then after that, you get to learn about the legend of Love, because obviously you're wondering why he has this rumor, this legend about him that he cannot die. Well, this legend is based on that he was cursed by a voodoo princess. Now, this voodoo princess cursed him and asked the goddess that to protect him and watch over him so he could always come back to her as long as he loved her, right? Well, during the cleansing, this voodoo princess was killed during a bombing, so she died while he still loved her. And since she died while he loved her, he's going to love her forever. And since he can never, he is not supposed to be able to die while he still loves her, he supposedly can live forever. Now, this has been tested, obviously, but never really proven, because he's not quite old enough to die of old age. And so in his mind, he doesn't live forever. He just hasn't died yet.
Gotcha.
But
Are there going to be?
he's still attached. His heart is still drawn and haunted by the love of his life who cursed him with the voodoo, you know?
Right. Yeah, curses and exes. Yeah, I can relate to that.
Curses, exes, bitches getting in your head and not going away.
Yeah, speaking of, is this Spade chick up in his brain while he's like nailing other chicks?
This chick, yes. Spade is up in his brain 24/7. She does not leave. She may not be, she may decide to project herself on like she's also in his hauler. She takes over the computer and kicks out his other computer system, computer software in his hauler. So she runs the hauler as well. So when he's on the hauler, she usually uses the hauler's monitors, you know what I mean, to talk to him. But if she's still in his head. She can still talk to him through his and through his audio implant and visual implant if she wanted to. So like if he went to the bathroom to hide from her, she could just like talk to him. In fact, in the movie, there's a scene in the beginning of the movie that I wrote where he was like trying to sleep, and she wakes him up by screaming at him and making it like one of his eye like light up. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, it is one of my exes.
So it's a normal relationship.
Yeah, a normal relationship.
And there's not even
Normal.
it's totally like a normal relationship because he doesn't even have sex with her ever.
Oh, damn.
Oh man. Jeez. I did have a question. Are you going to show a lot of flashbacks in this issue and in future issues about the war and the cleansing?
This issue is about almost a whole third flashback. And then in future issues, there'll be brief flashbacks of things, you know, but I don't think I'll do as big of a flashback telling the backstory like I do in this whole book. So
Okay.
yeah, but there will be other flashbacks, and he's gonna have dreams that haunt him of the voodoo princess because she haunts him in his dreams. There's gonna be situations where he has to flash back to war scenes because Jean, if this girl here in the red on the cover, that's his best friend, Jean. She was in the war with him. You know, she fought along his side. If you scroll down, there's a scene where they're both fighting, and she's like shooting the gun. Right there, where you see him on the car, that's her shooting right there. You know, they're they were in war together. You know, so they're like best friends. They survived the war together. They're both hauler drivers. You know, they meet up for drinks all the time.
Hardboiled Entertainment is wondering if we ever get to see Spade in human form.
You know, I have been kicking around the concept of ways to introduce that, but it seems to me like it would just be more interesting to have Spade secretly be in love with Love You know what I mean? And not ever to be able to do anything about it.
Well,
That seems more.
Steve
fuckery is-
Dye would like to know what fuckery is this.
Steve Dye is a fucking awesome motherfucker. I gotta say, everybody who doesn't know who Steve Dye is, which is probably nobody in this chat, but he is an awesome motherfucker, man. I am proud to call that man my friend.
That's awesome. Hell, bro.
Yeah.
That's
Yes. And it's awesome fuckery, Steve. It is awesome fuckery.
No, Steve Dye.
Did you go there?
Huh?
Did you say it's Steve Dye?
Steve Dye.
Whoa.
You're kind of like, we're all gonna die.
Alrighty, guys. Well, we are running out of time, guys and gal. So I want to head over here to City of Venus real quick. Vinny, if you'd like to pitch this for our audience.
Yeah, this one's it's a post-apocalyptic action story. It's sci-fi. It's set way into the future. The whole world is pretty much destroyed, void of power, except for the floating city in the sky and all the evil people that are there.
Schemes and scams up there.
Yeah, there's schemes and scams up there, a whole bunch of them. It's wrong. But yeah, those sons of bitches, they pretty much had their thumb on over everyone. We have survivors that they're literally like in the tens. There's not many of them left. They can't compete against them. They can't even get to the floating city. But yeah, they're kind of living underneath all this rubble and all this kind of things.
Now, question for your sketch tiers: is this the kind of quality sketches you're pumping out?
Absolutely.
That's ridiculous, man. Ridiculously good.
Yeah, I posted up another one today. I had another awesome background on those, but yeah, man, so super great quality, super detailed. But yeah, getting back to the pitch though, the story does center around this main character here that you see on screen. And she's kind of thrust into this world. She doesn't know how she got here. None of this looks familiar to her. She's never seen a floating city. And the viewer is going to be following her. So it's sort of like a touch of amnesia. I'm going to get more into it in issue 2 and how she got there. There's going to be a lot more science involved. But yeah, this book is something just that I get to explore and have more fun with. It's a bunch of different ideas that I've always really enjoyed. I'm going to be putting surprises throughout. Those people in the floating city, they want to prolong their lives, and they experiment on anyone that they find. So they're almost always failures. So they'll toss them back down, and that's why you see these kind of like monsters roaming around. There's going to be different kind of like factions of them, so they're not all going to be looking the same. Some are going to be way more dangerous than others. But yeah, the survivors actually come out every now and then. It's like they get tipped off that there's almost like little care packages or medical things that they could possibly get. They don't know if it's bait, so that they come to the surface and they can get captured. But sometimes, I mean, they're very, very desperate, so they're gonna try to sneak out and get those supplies. That's what kind of the opening of the book ended up being. Was our main character. She stumbles upon one of these scavengers. And yeah, kind of the action ensues. But I do give a really nice sum up of what the story, the world, what it is, right before you read the book. So it's on the inside flap. And you kind of get more of a sense of the danger about it and, kind of the destruction and all that. But yeah, this book this series is going to be around 6. It's going to be 6 books, but the other ones are going to be oversized in page count. So we're looking closer to like 48 to somewhere in the 50s. That's how many pages I'm going to be aiming for. This first one is 32 front cover to back. I have some extras in there, some behind the scenes stuff, my layouts. Yeah, you'll see like my tight line work and then fully rendered painted image. But yeah, I try to give a little bit of everything to people.
Yeah. Well, I already have this book in my possession, and I can definitely vouch for its quality. It is a very shiny book. Very shiny book. It is sparkly shiny. And the artwork is amazing from end to end. It is
Thank
just
you,
a
brother.
great book. And if you collect beautiful art books and you wanna have a collection of books that just like wow, this one has to be in it. I will say that to anybody.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I do have yeah, the exclusive is the volume 2 art book. So it's 52 pages, full colored, painted beautiful images I have in there, pin-up stuff, superhero stuff, you name it, it's in there. If you like video game characters, I have a little bit of everything for everyone. So that's why it's my my featured tier.
They say everything for
I-
everyone. Now, do you have something for those people who have like the troll fetish?
Then you could go over to was it Doom Fate?
Yes, yes. Doom Fate covers the troll fetish.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't have trolls in there. I have a Greek mythology piece. I know I got that. But yeah, even Ethan, he received these books and he absolutely loved them. He let me know the other day in one of the chats. I was kind of blown away too because I even forgot. It's been a while. But yeah, man, he was all over it. He said that the work, the quality. In fact, well, I could say because he's already said it on his stream last night. He's hired me to do a couple of pages for his book. So,
Oh, very
That's
nice.
very cool, man. That's very
yeah,
cool.
man, that's gonna be great. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, so keep an eye out. I got a lot more stuff coming up. I'm going to be relaunching in early 2020 Through the Woods, which was my first campaign. It's a little bit of what Sweens and Drew were talking about earlier. Again, first campaigns, sometimes they don't go over well. A lot of people did not know who I was. So I released a completed series. It was a ghost story, 3 issues. I had them already, but again, same thing. A lot of people didn't know who I was. I've been building a name with my other campaigns, pushing hard, making new friends with everyone from the artists and creators in Comicsgate to the fans. So it's been building, and a lot more people. They've been messaging me almost every day asking about this one. So I am going to be relaunching it. I'm working on a brand new cover for the trade paperback. Or graphic novel, however you guys want to call it. It's going to be about 92 pages. That's where I'm at right now. I threw in some extras. Yeah, man, I'm excited to get that out there because this book was something that I was really, really proud of. My brother Frank wrote it. I did all the artwork on it. So yeah, Through the Woods is coming very soon. In fact, I might actually put up at least the pencils for this cover. I might put it up tomorrow.
Cool, man. So yeah, everybody keep an eye out for that. Yeah, if you haven't backed City of Venus or Vinnie's art books, I would encourage you to do so because they are amazing.
Definitely.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I've been pumping them out this year. 7 books in 7 months. 4 different campaigns.
Yeah, man, you got yourself a reputation.
Yeah.
A good one. Hardboiled Entertainment is pressing for information on what you're working on for Ethan. I'm assuming you're not able to tell us that.
He's very close. But yeah, when I'm allowed to say more details, I will.
Awesome, excellent.
Well, that's very cool, man.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Ethan's an awesome dude. But yeah, and that's the thing. I know it's tough sometimes, but you got to keep chipping away. Good things will happen. This community is very strong. The fans are amazing. So the more they see you, the more that they enjoy what you've been doing.
It helps to be too stupid to quit like me.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd say crazy. We're all crazy. That's for sure.
All right, well, too crazy to quit. That sounds a lot better than too stupid to quit.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, the links for all 3 of these are in the description below. Back City of Venus, go back Oddity, and of course back Captain Love.
Yes, please.
Right.
All right. So yeah, we're approaching on the 2-hour mark, and I got to get up for work in the morning. So I think we're going to call it here, guys and gal.
Hey, Gaze, thank you very much for the opportunity to be on your show and to pitch the book and vent about my frustrations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're always welcome, man. You know that.
Yeah, man.
But where can people find you on Twitter?
Well, the Drew Love, as you see here over my picture, that is me on Twitter. That is me on YouTube. That is me on Instagram. That is like how you find me on social media, basically. So
Awesome. And Vinny, you're at Vinny Art on Twitter and on YouTube, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
yeah, and go subscribe to Vinny's channel on YouTube. Subscribe to mine too, but subscribe to Vinny's channel on YouTube.
Yeah, please do. I just did another stream the other night. We had some great creators on. We did Six Gun Gorilla, Doc Salem, Outlaw Knights. Yeah, that was a good one. And I'll have some more guests coming on soon. Yeah, Drew's been on. We've had a lot of people on, but I'm also pushing some other friends too, who've got great projects and really cool things. Definitely check out if you see Grandmaster Bram Frank. That stream's been doing great. Plenty of views. He's got these amazing knives. He's a legend in the martial art world, so please check that out too. But,
Yeah, absolutely. We'll try to get him on here shortly as well.
Oh, absolutely, man.
That comment from Dissatisfied Convert, I'm sorry, that cracked me up.
You want to read that, Vinny?
A lot of people are pumping it out when they read Vinny's books. Know what I'm saying?
We know what you're saying.
Hell.
Alrighty, so on behalf of the Boner King and everyone else, we're gonna call it a night. Yeah, thanks everybody for coming out. Please do check out the links in the description below.
Are you gonna say the limp something? Were you
I was, yeah, yeah, Freudian slip. But yeah, thanks for coming out, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Nice to meet you, Lola.
Nice to meet you.